For as human beings, we have the unique ability to look at something which is not working and decide to actually turn away from it. Hi, and welcome to another video. There is a saying that God can only be comprehended by comparing Him to the things which He has created. For example, this beautiful world which we live in seems to have been created that it can be appreciated for its beauty. Take your wildlife, animals, great, small, your ocean. One can only comprehend the wisdom of God, or try to comprehend the wisdom of God with all these beautiful things. And now, in Jesus Christ, God takes on the form of man to actually walk in this earth with His disciples and actually leave us the example in which we must live. And that example is love, the way of love. For through love, God steals the hearts of man. He does not do this through manipulation, intimidation, but it is only through love. This is how it is that He converts a soul that is deeply stuck in its ways, in the ways of sin. For it is through God's love and patience and the consequences of sin over time that one is converted. His love is a powerful form of persuasion and a way in which the Father brings us back into His loving arms. And I also believe the most powerful way to influence any person, be it a friend, in a relationship, and in marriage, is love. Intimidation, manipulation, or anything else never works. Only love is the way in which one can influence other people, and particularly in marriage. Take, for example, your siblings. There was always the times when you want to influence your brother or your sister to do something. And every time one tried to use intimidation, manipulation with their sister, with their brother, it never used to work. And year upon year and month upon month, this is the same thing with a partner in marriage. If you use any of these means, you are met with the same result. You can never influence a partner from this point. And when love is practiced in a marriage, patience, only then can it become the sacred bond which was designed to last a lifetime and to death by God. Only true love and sacrifice are the way of marriage. There is no other way to do it. Take the gym, for example. If you want to build a great body, you're going to have to sacrifice. Lift the weights and actually make the sacrifices with regards to your diet and all those types of things. And consistency. That is the way in which you get the body which you want, the body which you desire. It comes with sacrifice. For a successful relationship leading into marriage, the laws of God, His way of love, must be followed and respected. The rate of divorce nowadays is astronomical. Pain and suffering is the norm at the end of these relationships, for the children if they are involved, and the couple. This has happened today because many who claim to follow the way of God actually follow their own way first and then adapt His teachings, the teachings of Christ, to actually suit them. A faith like this is no faith at all. Now, the approach of today is not about true love. It's not about the example which Christ left us, the example of love, of loving one another, of loving one's spouse, unconditionally. It's more about butterflies in the tummy, how one feels. Now, over time, these feelings fade away. And when that happens, what people nowadays do is they move on to the next person, and the next person, then the next. Now, when people put themselves before God, it becomes easy to put their needs, their desires, their wants, their emotions before others. Now, entering into a marriage with that attitude guarantees disaster. A true loving marriage is built on the foundation of serving others. It's not about controlling others or wielding power within a marriage or relationship. Power within a marriage must be used in the same way that Christ did, in the service of others, in the service of the children and the spouse. Take, for example, you have a wife. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom, look after the children, and you could afford to take care of the family. That financial power which you have is not to be used selfishly for yourself. It must be shared with the spouse and the children. It is actually an opportunity to imitate the Father's generosity. Now, at face value, serving others within a marriage, within a relationship, may seem very weak, particularly in the modern culture of today. But it's the opposite. If one is a partner who believes and actually lives the way of God, the way of sacrifice, the way of love, then the marriage can be solid and much more stronger and grounded if both partners believe and sacrifice for each other. And not only for each other, but for the children, for the married. Now, what does one need to do this? Firstly, the most important thing to have is a self-esteem, which is not based on material things. Say someone had a fantastic job, or maybe a great business, which allowed them to live the life which they wanted to live, to buy most of the things they wanted to buy. Now, if that person's self-esteem is linked to that business, the day they lose their job or that business, their self-esteem comes crashing down. The same way the business went down is the same way their self-esteem goes crashing down, which means their self-esteem is only dependent on exterior things. Anytime something happens to whatever they attach their self-esteem to, your self-esteem must not rely on affirmation and status. So what then is the solution? The dignity of man comes from the fact that he is created in the image of God, and that in the sight of God, he is of importance. This is where my esteem should come from. It should not be linked to anything external. And this is true for the guy on the street and the person who has been very successful in their life. Their self-esteem, because it is not attached to anything material, anything which is of this world, which is vulnerable, they are rock solid. Integrity is also of great importance. It is important to genuinely try and follow the ways of God. We are not perfect, but what trying to walk in the way of God does is it makes you authentic in the sight of people because you're trying. Remember the saying, a saint is one who will get back up again whenever they fall. And people trust that because there's authenticity in that. Now, if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. And if you're interested in another video which has to do with marriage, click the card up there. And remember, a rosary a day keeps the devil away.